Hello, 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 and welcome to the BFA Baby podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Hartman, and once again, welcome back to my kitchen table. If you heard last week's episode, you would know that the next two episodes were being filmed in my apartment because I'm getting them filmed before I leave for Thanksgiving break, and the studio here on campus is closed. So welcome back to the kitchen table. We are drinking a Sprite today from McDonald's. Nearly done with it, but we are drinking a Sprite. And I thought that I would get this episode out because it's something very near and dear to my heart and something that has adapted and changed and morphed all since I've pursued the arts in a professional career setting, into getting my BFA, all that jazz. So the topic of today is the holidays as a dancer. There's a lot of multifaceted things that are going on there, and I have a couple bullet points that I want to talk about, and when this goes out, it will be after Thanksgiving but before Christmas, and I think that these can apply to both holidays, so feel free to come back to this episode next year when you're preparing for the holiday season, or, feel free to listen to this episode to prepare for your Christmas gatherings, whatever. So, yeah, I want to hop right into it. Do I have anything else that I want to say beforehand? I don't think so. I think we should just jump right in. So, the very first thing I have is, as a bullet point, is holidays that surround a lot of food. And Thanksgiving is literally in 2 days from when I'm recording this, so it's top of the brain for me. But there's also big dinners at Christmas, lots of dessert at Christmas if you celebrate, or like around this time even. Whatever holiday in the wintertime you celebrate, there's probably food and gathering involved, like a lot of good holidays have. And I think that can be a really hard point for students. And obviously I'm still a student, you're still a student, maybe perhaps. And I think that as dancers in an industry where we are so focused on our athletic performance, and we are, especially as women in ballet, we know that we are so, this is going to sound so bad, but we're kind of a dime a dozen, we are treated in that cattle call type of way. And it's not right, but that does kind of put the pressure on you, that little voice in the back of your head, whether it's your voice, your directors, your teachers, someone behind an audition panel that said it to you one time, a doctor even, I could talk all about that. But, that idea that what can make me stand out? And I think a lot of the times we think about a restriction of food as being a sense of willpower. And, dancers have a lot of willpower, and they have a lot of dedication and self-control. It takes a lot of all of those things to be successful in the art. And I think sometimes that we mistranslate such a good thing into bad behaviors. I didn't have any food at Thanksgiving dinner. I have a lot of willpower. I have a lot of dedication to my art. I do it for the art, kind of like the starving for the art, the dying for the art type energy. And I think especially with the family that's around you when you're gathering, and there can be stigma around that, and a lot of the times you have Nutcracker right after Thanksgiving, in the back of your mind you're thinking about costumes, you're thinking about being on stage, perhaps photo shoots for promotional stuff. Maybe we were always in the Thanksgiving parades, we were on TV, And I think the biggest thing for that is to start objectively looking at food during the holidays as not black and white, good or bad. You know what I mean? Food during the holidays is the exact same as the food that you're going to eat every other day in your life. You know what I mean? And it might be even daunting to be facing these big plates of food, lots of different choices and everything. If you even had a break, if you have a Thanksgiving break, a little bit of a winter break before you get into Nutcracker or whatever, I think it's best to look at, this is still food to fuel you. perhaps it's not fueling your performance. Perhaps, you're on a thing, like I just finished a show and I'm on a Thanksgiving break, and then when I come back, I have final performances. So like I got a bit of a break before I dance again. And the way I'm choosing to look at it so it isn't harmful to my body and my mental health is that this food is fuel for your recovery. This food is the fuel and energy that your body needs to help you to recover fully, help your muscles recover. It'll even out your sleep schedule, just help your body reset and get itself back on track before we get into our next round of shows, whether that's Nutcracker or finals, if you're me, anything. And that is very important because we really want food to be a positive thing, especially in the holidays. That extra stress of a negative outlook on food and your body is not going to make your holidays enjoyable. In fact, the holidays where I was really wrapped up in negative thought patterns and negative behaviors around food, I don't really remember those holidays because they are so clouded by the struggle that I was so outwardly facing. And all this to say that love your holiday food and love your body and love your family, because at the end of the day, it's never going to be, she was a size 00 on stage. Like, that's amazing. It's going to be, she was so strong in snow. Her endurance for flowers was amazing. Her final performance had so much passion and drive and integrity behind it. She was so charismatic. She was so happy. All these things, all these positive things that food gives you, not just for recovery, but for your performance, are so closely tied to your health. And it's a hot take, but if fighting the fear food of pumpkin pie, if you even have a taste of it, that's the biggest win for you, because you fought a fear, you survived, and now you're stronger because of it, both on stage, both off stage, both mentally, everything. And all this to say that food is fuel, no matter the holiday around it, no matter what you're doing, no matter when you're dancing, when you're on stage, when you're off stage, whatever. Food is fuel, and food has no inherent moral value. Food is not inherently good or bad. A piece of pumpkin pie and turkey or ham. We have ham at Thanksgiving, so we'll say ham. Turkey, ham, whatever. It's all food that's going to fuel your body and help your mind and your spirit and your performance. And trust me, I've been there. I know that it's hard and it's difficult, especially when there's so many people around, and they all kind of, as your family, are aware of your career, and they may be having those preconceived notions of, oh, she's a ballerina, ballerinas don't eat. They have the black swan of ballet, like we talked about in the ballet and media episode, and they don't get it. And I understand how that can be really undermining to your struggles and make it all seem so trivial, when really it's something that you are fighting for every single day of your life. And I just want you to know that you have the right to say no to your family members. You have the right to stand up for yourself. Don't push yourself to do things you don't want to or you don't feel safe doing just because your family members are around. If you take anything away from this holiday season, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever holiday that you celebrate in the coming season, I want you to take away that your health, especially as a dancer, especially as a BFA student, in which your body, your mind, and your soul is your career, I want you to take away that your health, mind, body, soul is so much more important than what your peers think about you, your friends, your family, your classmates, your professors. Other people's opinions of you are absolutely not up to par with your health and safety. Do what you need to do to keep yourself safe this Thanksgiving, this Christmas, this holiday season. But I do want to reiterate again that food has no inherent moral value. So if that's something you need to keep reminding yourself as you're deciding what you want to eat this holiday season, maybe that's something to keep at the top of your mind. And maybe reframing the idea that even if you are on a break like I am, food can be a great tool and is a great tool for helping you recover and helping your body recover and come back stronger and well rested for those upcoming performances. So yeah, just some things to kind of keep around as you're heading into your family dinner. And something else to carry on with that note on family are, you will more than likely, if you come from a family like mine, you will be getting unsolicited comments on your career choice without fail. And my opinion on this has kind of changed throughout the years, and I kind of wanted to talk about that on the podcast today, because there's a lot to unpack here. So when I was a kid, like I said, we would always do the Thanksgiving parade, we'd have Nutcracker, and I would always have a lot of stress for that, and especially in high school when I was struggling with food and body image and everything, and how that all worked out. The holidays became a really big point of stress, because not only was I feeling all of this mental turmoil, but then I had family members not really taking my career and my passion seriously, and it always baffles me when the family members that have the most to say about my college career are the ones that didn't even go to college themselves. And like I said earlier, you are not at the mercy of anyone to do anything. Therefore, you do not have to explain yourself to your family. You do not have to fight with your family. You know that you are on the right career path. I mean, when I even told my grandmother, I told her, I'm going to school to be a dance major. I'm going to be a dance performance major. I want to do all these things, and she said to me, isn't there something else you're good at? We are still in an age where there's a majority of people that do not take what we have dedicated our lives to as a serious career, even though they rely on the art to survive. They rely on the arts to survive. I mean, we just saw this with the SAG-AFTRA strikes. I think I've talked about the SAG-AFTRA strikes in the past 6 podcast episodes, and honestly, as I should. However, I think the biggest thing is that don't fight a losing battle every single holiday this season. If you are in America, you more than likely celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas fairly back to back, and those are both traditional family gathering holidays. And these are holidays in which, you're with extended family. There's family that I only see on these holidays, you know what I mean? So it's if you have family members that only see you once or twice a year, a lot changes between times that you see each other, and they probably haven't been around to see your successes and your growth and your passion and your drive and all the work that you've put forward for your career. And I guarantee you that these are the same people that rely on the arts to survive, but don't give the arts any credit. These are the people that only listen to audiobooks on long drives, only listen to podcasts that unwind with a movie or a video game or a real printed book, or even games were designed by someone, board games were designed by artists, and these are people that will never tell you that they find value in the arts, even though that their hobbies and livelihood revolve around the arts. They might not have a creative career, but if they unwind after their career, after their day of work, which every single person does, it's more than likely, even music, listening to music in the car, it's more than likely something artistic. And my biggest thing to say, if there are unsolicited comments about your career, is don't take them to heart. I used to take them to heart so closely, and it was always a lot of like, they don't believe in me, you know, and it became very spiteful. But then I realized that they just don't understand it, you know. And not to say that I now feel sorry for my family, but I do kind of, there's a soft space in my heart for the family members that don't get it, because it upsets me and baffles me that you don't put that much value on the arts, even though that you are consuming art every single day of your life, you know. And if no one tells you it to you this holiday season, I want to be the voice. You are brave, you are passionate, you are courageous, you have an amazing work ethic. All of these things that come into having a career in the arts, being a BFA student, all of these things are traits that adults wish they had. They might not tell you to your face, but these are traits to be admired. You are brave for chasing your dreams. You are courageous for going against what everyone told you to do, because you know your heart, you know your passion, you know your soul, and you know that a career in the arts is the career path for you, and you would not be happy anywhere else. I am proud of you for following the path for your own happiness and not negating the path to make someone else happy. That is bold and brave, and I am so proud that you are on this journey with me. I'm so proud that you're on this journey for yourself. I am so proud that you are choosing your own happiness, and I want you to keep choosing your own happiness this holiday season. You know, I want you to remind yourself over and over again that this is the correct career for you. It sounds so arbitrary and so stupid, but whenever, you know, we get some comments, some unsolicited comments from family members, I always remind myself that I am happy where I'm at. I am passionate where I am at. My life has never been better where I am at. I see a bright future for myself, and I am working every single day to get there. And if my family members that are making these comments are not able to see my work ethic, my drive, my passion, my hard work, my dedication to this art, then that's their loss, and they will not be given tickets to see you on Broadway. I think that's the biggest thing. And if something as spiteful as that is what you need to keep in your brain, literally do it. Like, my favorite thing, this is gonna sound so rough, but like, just know that the people that supported you are gonna be the ones filling those Broadway seats. These family members, you know, they'll know you when you're famous. I knew her when. I'm her, I don't know, I'm her cousin, I'm her aunt, I'm her uncle, whatever. But if they don't stand by you when you're working your fucking ass off, them standing by you when you're at the top means nothing. Remember who is standing by you now, who is passionate about your career, who is supportive of your career aspirations alongside you, and don't pick fights that are losing battles. You know, I'm never gonna be able to get certain family members to understand my career, to find it valuable, and that's okay. I've learned to be okay with it as I've gone to college and made a family here. You know, all my friends and coworkers and bosses, they were all like a little family to me, and they understand and support my career, and I'm realizing that they're the ones that will always be alongside whatever creative aspirations I want to do. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that there are always going to be people, friends from back home, family, you know, whatever. There's always going to be people who are in your life and are not going to understand it. And just because you don't fight them to understand it, you don't, you know, get upset about it, you're not hurt by their comments, you know, you can love them and you can appreciate them, but you can disagree with them. Let's talk about this. You can love your family and also disagree with them. You can love your family and have completely different thought processes. You can love your family and have a completely different lifestyle than them. those love and a difference in lifestyle, beliefs, career, passion, drive, whatever you want this other thing to be, they can run parallel to each other. You know, they don't have to exist like on a V. They don't have to go completely different directions. They can exist at the same time. But I don't want you to get that confused with, you know, you're not, how do I want to put this into words? You are not a bad dancer, actress, singer, writer, whatever you're in your creative field for. You're not a bad insert artist for not defending your career. You defend your career every single fucking day when you get up and go to work, and you go to class, and you go back to work, and you come home and work on your passion project. Hi, this is my passion project. And after you work on your passion project, you get your homework done, and you're taking care of yourself, and you're going to bed early. You are not a bad artist for not defending your art to people who will never understand it and are never going to let themselves be open-minded enough to understand it. You are putting in the work every single day. You are showing up to these family events. You are taking care of yourself. You are putting your happiness first, and I am so proud of you, and that makes you a good, solid artist. And I think that's something I really want both myself and anyone listening to keep at the top of their heads this holiday season, is that you are not in any way obligated to defend your career choices, your passions, your drives. You are not in any way obligated to defend any of that to family members who will not understand it. You know, and my example I like to give is of my twin. No one's ever gonna question that she's a nurse. Like she's in nursing school. She actually just took her test to get into nursing school. She did a good job. Good job, Megan. Woo! But you know, no one is ever going to question, well, why are you doing that? What are you going to do if that doesn't work out? What are you going to do? Blah, blah, blah. Whatever else the traditional bitching about a creative's career path says, you know, whatever they want to say. And I think that the biggest note is that it does not make you a bad sister, brother, daughter, son, cousin, niece, nephew, whatever you are to these family members. It doesn't make you a bad family member to not waste your emotional energy at these events that are supposed to be happy and fulfilling. It doesn't make you a bad artist, a bad family member, a bad friend to not defend your career. You know what makes you happy, and you know what makes you passionate, and you know what makes you feel fulfilled. And if that doesn't make the other people in your life fulfilled, then, you know, that's probably why you don't see them often, why you don't talk to them a lot. You know, it's palpable, especially to the artists, especially as they are pursuing careers in families that don't really get it. It is palpable when you don't feel someone's support, when every time you see them, you get a snarky comment about your career, about your major, about what are you gonna do with that degree, how are you gonna make any money, you know? And that hits to the soul because that's someone attacking your livelihood, your passion, but that person that is doing all that is not the person that stays up late with you while you're writing on your book, that helps you clean up choreography, that even comes and sees you perform. You know what I mean? Like, they just criticize, they aren't there to support the hard work. And that's something I want you to keep in mind. The people that criticize are the people that are not going to be with you and by you. Then you do not need to waste your emotional energy on that. You do not need to argue this holiday season. You do not need to defend yourself like you're in a court of law. You know, just live your life and live your truth. And if living your truth is eating your Thanksgiving dinner, and when your uncle, your Uncle Jack, when Uncle Jack turns over and he's like, you're wasting your college education getting a BFA, if the only thing that you can say is, that's a crazy thing to say to me. And then just go back to eating your pumpkin pie. That's a wild thing. That's crazy that you'd say that to me. Or even so, like, I'm starting to work in the, that was really brave of you to say out loud. You know, I might have to start using that one. You know, if someone's like, you know, what are you going to do with that degree? Like, you're not going to make any money. You'll be a barista your whole life. That was really brave for you to say out loud. You know, if a snarky comeback is all that you can muster, perfect. Whatever keeps your emotional and mental health steady and on a high during this holiday season, that's what you need. Don't give time and energy, especially emotional time and emotional energy, to people that will never be able or willing to open their minds up to see your different point of view. And I think that's all I have to say about that. That was really passionate, but it's near and dear to my heart. Next up, I have performances on the list, and this is gonna kind of come from 2 points of view. It's gonna come from my high school point of view and my college point of view. So high school, middle school point of view first. Like I talked about a little bit earlier, we would be in the Thanksgiving parade in the mornings, and then we would have Nutcracker stuff like immediately after, you know. And my ballet studio that I talked about in last week's, 2 weeks ago's episode, I think it was 2 weeks ago's episode, whenever I talked about my ballet training, we would have this float in the Ameren, Missouri Thanksgiving Day Parade. It was in downtown St. Louis. It was always so much fun. You know, some really good memories I have come from that parade. You know, you'd get up at like 5 something in the morning and be in hair and makeup, and we'd have our costumes on, and we would, you know, hand out flyers and have this big float for Nutcracker, and it was a lot of fun. And seeing little girls see us in costume was always so special. I always think it's my little Disney Princess Parade moment. You know, like when the Disney characters like see someone dressed up as them, or like Disney bounding as them. I think that is like so cute. But yeah, no, I had a really, really good time at all those parades. We had little dances and stuff. Anyways, so, oh, also before I even continue, the parades, there was always like the last 50 feet or so of the parade was what was called TV land in our studio, and that was where the news cameras were. And the best thing to do was to record the parade on TV and then go home and watch it like after the parade and see if you were on TV. There were a couple times I was on TV, and then my senior year I was like on the local news's like Facebook or Instagram or something. I like did a little turn, and it was cute. It was cute. It was a lot of good times. I had a really good time being in the Thanksgiving Day parades, you know, but that goes without saying, we would get up early, you know, we would do the parade, come home, shower, take a nap, you have Thanksgiving dinner that night, you know. And I always remember having a lot of my emotional energy spent on the parade, and I was always really excited about the parade and excited about Nutcracker afterwards, that it can be hard to relate to the people around you. You know, if you don't know, if you haven't listened to a lot of the podcast, I don't come from a family where like anyone else does anything creative, you know. I am the only creative in miles of the family tree, and especially the only BFA creative in miles of the family tree. And I think the biggest thing I want to say is that I always wanted somewhere to like talk about the parade, especially when I got older. Like, it was cute when I was younger because everyone was like, you were on TV, and it's like cute when you're young, you know? But everything is cute when you're young. So then when I was older, and you know, I was on TV and I got interviewed and I got to talk about my passion, you know, people start taking your performances less seriously when you get older. You know, and I think that comes from the very Midwest stigma. Sorry, if you're watching on YouTube, hi. It's getting dark outside, so if the lighting keeps changing, the sun is setting actively. My windows are literally on the other side of you guys. But anyways, you know, the Midwest traditional work the 9 to 5, white picket fence, house dog kids type energy where I live and where I grew up, you know, it's always like, you know, the little girls grow out of ballet, you know. And I remember growing up, and like getting older, when I was doing the parades and stuff in high school around Thanksgiving, I always wanted to talk about it. And I remember feeling a difference. Like, it wasn't cute anymore. No one wanted to hear about it anymore. They wanted to hear, how was I doing in school? How did my ACT go? When am I going to study in college? And then again, when I answered dance, it was a whole thing, you know. And I think the Nutcracker performances, you know, I wanted to talk about how Nutcracker was going, how rehearsals were going. I wanted to show everyone pictures of my costumes. And it was that lack of engagement, I think. Like, I could feel, especially in high school, like especially later high school, like sophomore year and up, I could feel that no one really cared. And you know when you're talking to a family member and they have that like fake interest on, but they like aren't really interested? It was a lot of that. And maybe, you know, if I told this to my parents, they would argue, well, we just don't understand it. We just don't have creative minds like you do. But it's like, open your mind and see a different perspective, see a different way of life, of thinking, and, you know, whatever. And there are family members that I have felt immense amount of support from. But I do remember wanting to talk about my dancing and my art, and then there were people, like, no one really could, I didn't have anyone I could banter with. That's really what I'm looking at here. I had no one that I could banter with about performance, you know? There was no one that really had the same experiences that I did, or similar experiences, you know? So then when we would hang out with our family friends, you know, they had daughters and sons that were in theater, and that's when I really, like, people say, like, I never talk that much unless I'm around them. It's like, because we share an experience, we share a love and a life and a passion, and like, that was everything. Like, the lack of banter can be really hard, especially in high school, because I think in high school, even senior year Taylor, like, she did not know who she was. And I think that is so, like, I don't even think I fully know who I am now at 19, almost 20. But I think that at some point, like, I'm closer to who I'm supposed to be than I was senior year of high school, is what I'm trying to say. I know myself a little bit better, yada, 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 whatever. Whatever you want to say about it. And I think the biggest thing I have to say about it all is that I don't long for that acceptance and that banter. I've been able to realize that family dinners are gonna look a little bit different for me, you know? Family dinners are gonna look a little quieter for me. You know, if someone asks, I'll talk about the dancing, but I'm not chomping at the bit to bring it up like I was when I was younger. And you could say that's a good or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. I don't really mind it, but I do think that if someone then brings it up to me, I am able to then be like, okay, they are interested in what I'm doing. They want to know about it. And then that saves me emotional energy for it. And that's really important to me. Is back in high school, I'd spend so much emotional energy like talking to people about it, and then being really sad when they didn't reciprocate the same passion or enthusiasm for it, just because they didn't understand it, you know. And I would leave holidays like so drained, and I could never voice why. But then when I made the conscious switch to just kind of like engage in a quote unquote normal conversation, but then if someone asks me how the dancing is going, I will backtrack and I will talk about the dancing. You know, making a conscious effort to talk about my passions when someone is equally invested in it and wants to actively know about it, that has saved me so much emotional energy, and I'm not as like like absolutely just dead after holiday dinners or whatever. And I think that that's really important, especially as I just wrapped up a performance. We just wrapped up fall dance concert this past weekend while I'm recording this, and you know, I got pictures on the go, I got stories on the go, like ready to show, but I'm not gonna immediately be like, we just closed fall dance concert and it was so amazing, and look at all my costumes, and rehearsals were so fun, and I felt this way, and I was artistically challenged in this way, and the lights were this, but then this went wrong and we fixed it, you know, blah blah blah, just foaming at the mouth with information about it, you know. And that's my biggest thing, is don't be so crazy. Not don't be so crazy. Please share your love and your passion, but don't waste it on people who aren't going to understand it. That's my biggest thing I have to say about it. Okay, and this is something that part of me really wants to make a full episode about this. Like, I think it could be really beneficial because it's something that I wasn't expecting when I came into my BFA. But I'll kind of touch on it here with the holidays. And then perhaps if you're interested, maybe I'll poll somewhere. Maybe I'll poll on Spotify. I think I can do a poll on Spotify. But I want to talk about loneliness during the holidays, especially while getting your BFA. A lot of BFA students, at least where I go to school, shout out Missouri State, a lot of us do work. A lot of us work, and I included work. And, you know, we have fall dance concert happening. We have performances and classes and finals coming up. And I think that we're predisposed to feeling a lot of loneliness. You know, I'm here till Wednesday working, but I had friends that left on Saturday, friends that left on Sunday that are spending extra time with their family. They don't have to worry about, you know, doing anything over break, you know, but then, you know, I'm here working. I've had the apartment to myself. Not that I don't love it. I do love the peace and quiet. Shout out Caroline and Katya, my roommates. I'm going to send you a big heart. Do love you guys, but I also like being queen of the apartment. It's very nice. But, yeah, you know, I have friends that have been doing, you know, stuff over break that are just, like, literally rotting on their couches for a week, you know, but then I'm going home for break with the knowledge that I'm going to have to film some self-tapes for summer stock. I'm going to have to practice my final dances, study for my finals, my tap finals, rehearse presentations I have to give, like, immediately after break. We have a film project, like, the Tuesday, like, we get back on a Sunday, we film it Monday and Tuesday. You know, immediately we're getting right back into it. We're staying late in town for work. And not that I don't appreciate all these things, because there's a lot of great opportunities here, but there is a sense of loneliness that I don't think we are ever, not that we aren't allowed, but I don't think that we are given not the okay, because it's okay to talk about how you feel. It always is okay to talk about how you feel. But I think the biggest thing to say is that sometimes we don't feel like it's right to mention that we feel lonely. You know, well, you shouldn't work that much. It's your fault you work that many jobs. Or you picked this as a career. Why are you complaining about being lonely? You know, you have to put the hard work in to be successful. Yes, it's all of the above, which is true. But that doesn't mean that you can't feel lonely. Sometimes it does feel lonely when you're working extra hard, or, you know, especially when you see friends go home to families that are really supportive of their career, that won't have any arguments or, you know, slight twists of the knife in the heart when they see certain family members. You know, that loneliness is real, and it's a completely and totally valid feeling. And I think that we don't usually have the space to talk about that because we don't want to seem like it's complaining, but that is also, circling back to last week's episode, that is such a feminized thing to say, you know, like I talked about last week, you know, why do we apologize for asking questions in rehearsals? Why do we apologize for speaking our mind? As women, we've always been taught that. And now I feel like if we talk about our feelings, it feels like we're complaining, but we're not. We're just commenting on how we feel and reaching a hand out and saying, hey, I feel this way. And I just want you to know that if you're feeling lonely this holiday season, whether it's because you're working late into break and you won't have a long break, or you're working over break and you won't get to go home to see your family, or you are going home to a family but they are not super supportive of your career, or maybe you're rehearsing over break, or, you know, maybe you don't have a lot of people around you right now. Any reason that you could be feeling lonely related to your career, related to the arts, to your family, to their perception of your career, is completely valid. And I think that loneliness can also come with a sense of anxiety of, what are they going to say this year? What am I going to talk about? I have all these tools to help me, you know, when I'm faced with a big buffet of holiday food, but what if I can't fall back on those? You know, there's a lot of apprehension especially when you're leaving a place like your college town. If you're really thriving here, and you're up here, there's a place of apprehension where you're gonna see the people that help you, not even help you, that force you to plummet back down here. When you felt down here in high school, when you were consistently surrounded around these friends, these people, whoever it was that brought you down here, that made this jump up to your college life so much better, it can be scary and lonely to go home, and you might feel lonely in that anxiety and that, what if I just plummet for a week, and you feel lonely because no one back home gets you, or maybe you're in a situation like me where your parents moved out of your hometown when you graduated. I go home, quote unquote home, I go to my parents' new house, and I only know my parents there. I have a job, but I'm not there most of the year. Most of the year I'm at school, and I do like to stand by the fact that my family is really at school. The people, my community here has made a really big, loving family, and it's if you are in a situation like that where going home feels like you're going to a foreign country, that loneliness and that dissonance is absolutely normal and okay, especially if there's the added tension with food, with your career, with family, with performances, with what am I going to talk about, because everything I like no one's interested in. If you feel isolated because of your passion and your drive and your work ethic, I just want to acknowledge you, and I want to acknowledge the bravery that you have for not only chasing your happiness during this season, but for working through it. You're going home if you can. You're making the best out of the situation, and feeling lonely is a passing feeling. The holidays are going to be over. The next semester is going to start. You're going to see your family, whoever it is you consider your family. You're going to see them again, and it's all going to come back together and come back to happiness, and you're going to come back up here, and you're going to keep doing what you love and chasing your dreams. And the fleeting moments that you're with the people that the fleeting moments that you're with the people that are not supportive, that are hindering your passion, your drive, that make you sad, make you anxious, make you feel lonely, those are fleeting moments. And there's a reason why you're not there all the time, why you choose to work. And yes, it can feel lonely when it's getting dark at 4:30 outside. It's actually 5:20, but it started getting dark at 4:30. When it's dark at 5:30 outside, and you're in the apartment by yourself because you had to work, and you're going to get a shorter break, and your break is going to be spent working and doing auditions, and with family that's going to argue with you about your career, that stress and that loneliness can build up. And I just want you to know that you are not alone. That these holiday seasons that are causing you all this stress and all this dissonance and turmoil, these are fleeting moments, okay? These are times that are coming and going, and yes, they're the holidays, and you want them to be magical, but sometimes they won't be. And I think the key to helping you feel this way, especially if going home to your family is a time, a place you're with people that make that dissonance heavier, that you can really feel the transition, find things about the season that can make you really happy. Okay, for me, it's watching the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. That is something I know that is going to be there, and I love doing it. I love seeing all the performers, and if people join me, great, but I know that I'm going to be okay and happy if no one joins me. Helping decorate the Christmas tree is another one, knowing that all my ballerina ornaments are going to be all together like they are every single year, knowing that the Chiefs ornament's going to be at the top like it is every single year, finding these, getting trusted with dessert for Thanksgiving. I'm making dessert, I'm so excited, but all of these little things that are little tiny pieces of happiness that can smooth out that dissonance a little bit, find some of those for yourself. And even if that's like, I have the ability to take a nap, amazing. I have the ability to sleep with blackout curtains, if you have blackout curtains in your house, or I have a little dollhouse, little cubby hole in my room. I get to see the cubby hole in my room. There's a TV in my bedroom. I get to have Quick Trip. If you don't have Quick Trip near you, it's a gas station, and this is the QUIK trip. Amazing. Little tiny things about where you're from, about the holidays that you can really grasp onto and make your own are my favorite things during the holidays, and whatever can help you ease that loneliness and that dissonance is important, and absolutely nothing that you should apologize for. And lastly, I want to talk about the transition after Nutcracker. So this is going to be kind of something that I've just felt the past couple years. So a couple weeks ago, I talked about my ballet training and how I've been doing Nutcracker every year since I think 6th grade. And the biggest thing on that is these past 2 years, when I haven't been in a Nutcracker, I've like felt sad about it. Like, it's so silly because like I'll hear Nutcracker music, or, well, these past 2 years I've gone to Nutcrackers. I went to Springfield Ballet and Kansas City Ballets the past couple years, and they've been lovely. They've been lovely. It's been really great to see a Nutcracker because I've been in it for so long, but seeing one has been few and far between. I think I've only seen 3 in my lifetime, but you know, I feel like I feel so sad. Like, I miss my Nutcracker days when I see like ballerinas posting Nutcracker content, and like obviously I know that someday I'll be in a company and I'll get to be in Nutcracker again, and I'll feel all that magic all over again, and it will be safe and healthy and happy. But like, there is just kind of like a sadness in the winter season after Nutcracker, you know, because Fall Dance Concert this year was last weekend. It was the 15th through the 18th of November. The year before, my freshman year, it was like December, like that 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, like that first little bit of December. And I remember being like, okay, we're done, but like growing up, my performances weren't really done until like right at Christmas or after Christmas, and then we have like a 2-week break for the new year, and then we're back at it for spring, you know. And that, I do miss Nutcracker. I had a lot of great training and a lot of performance lessons and love in Nutcracker, and I think the transition out of it was harder than I expected it to be, and it does make me kind of sad. Like, I do miss the experience and the magic of it all, but I know that it's gonna come back at some point. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna do a Nutcracker again. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to comment on that because it is something that I've kind of felt like I just get a little sad. I don't know, like I miss doing snow and flowers and all these crazy things. And I kind of want to know if anyone else feels the same way about that. Like, when you did Nutcracker a whole bunch and then at your college, you're not in one at the moment. I think I'm gonna audition for Springfield Ballets and just see what happens. But you know, like, it just kind of feels different. It is like, it's a routine that you were in for so long, and something that you really associate with the holidays, especially as a dancer. Like, everyone associates Nutcracker with the holidays as dancers, and it's just like, I feel like a part of me is missing a little bit. You know, I miss my Nutcracker days, but I just wanted to throw that at the end of the episode. Just kind of getting that off my chest. But I am very happy. I'm going to usher Springfield Ballet's Nutcracker again, and that means I get to see it for free, and I get a cute little name tag. But I do love supporting the local arts, and that's kind of my Nutcracker taste for the season. But yeah, so just want to throw that at the end. I feel like Nutcracker withdrawal is something a lot of dancers feel. But yeah, I think that wraps up the holiday episode. So I just kind of want to recap real quick. For starters, I am very, very proud of you for taking the brave strides and the passion and the drive that you have and the courage. So follow your dreams, follow your heart, follow your passion, follow what makes you happy, even though people around you are telling you not to do it. You know, I'm glad that you are taking that risk because I know that you are working hard enough to reap the rewards. And I want you to remember this holiday season that you do not have to fight anybody on behalf of your career. You know that you're working hard. And if these are not people that are supporting you, that are by your side, if these are not people that are asking you how the work is doing rather than just criticizing it, if these are people who are just criticizing the work and not realizing the ups and the downs and the passion and the drive and the late hours that you put into it, but they're just criticizing the thing, they are not people you need to spend your mental and emotional energy on. That doesn't mean that you don't love them. That doesn't mean they're not family. That just means that you are keeping your heart and your mind and your soul safe. I want you to remember this holiday season that food is not inherently good or bad especially if you're on a dancing break, or if you have shows coming up right after the holidays or like in between holidays. Food is going to help you fuel your performance and fuel your recovery if you're in a bit of a dancing hiatus, like I am. And food is not morally good or morally bad. Food is food, and food is celebratory, and food is a thing that you can gather around, and it's such a hard transition, and I'm here for you, and I totally understand that. But that is something I just kind of wanted you to keep at the top of your mind, that food is not inherently good or bad, and enjoying your favorite holiday foods is going to make you a better performer in the long run. I also wanted to remind you that if you're feeling dissonance, if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling anxious about going home for the holidays or whatever your holiday plans look like, you are not alone, and you are allowed to talk about how you feel. And that does not mean that you are a bad artist. It doesn't mean you are ungrateful for your job, for your career, for your education. You are stating how you feel, and you are reaching out to the people around you, and that is so admirable. And I'm very proud of you for feeling how you're feeling, acknowledging it, and being able to express it to help out other people. And I think that's all I wanted to say for the holiday episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. Have the best holidays, whatever holidays you celebrate. I am very thankful for you as I am about to celebrate Thanksgiving. I am very thankful for you guys for joining me on this podcast journey. As always, I can't wait to see where it goes. You can follow the podcast at BFA Baby Podcast on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Tata's Ballet, periods between words, and I will see you all in the next episode. Married in a kiss. Mwah.